Okay. This is the coolest Inchstone's podcast guest I have. Like, no, literally, you're the coolest. This is my former high school babysitter, now freshman at Penn State University, Lindsey Levitt. There's Linz. She's in her freshman dorm room that, like, literally is carbon copy from mine 25 years ago. I get a lot of questions, and I've shared with you, Linz, that, how did you find and trust an 18-year-old to help you watch Mac and Millie? And I know you and I can delve into how, people post things on Facebook for sitters and stuff. But at the end of the day, what did you think made you most confident to say yes to a family like ours?
I think, well, when I first came in, obviously I met you guys in person and I came to the house. And I think just seeing the environment of your just like house in general, how like you treated all the kids, I said hi to everyone, and you made me feel very comfortable and safe. Also, Penn State alum, very helpful. um, but yeah, like at first when I learned about the like Mac and Millie, I think I was obviously hesitant because I'd never been in that situation before. Like
You've been a counselor at sleepaway camp for
yeah,
a number of years and
I'd worked
attended.
with
So you've
kids.
worked with kids. Yeah.
I'm a counselor. I did stuff at my temple with working with kids. I babysit a lot, but I had never worked with anybody with special needs before. So when I first learned about this, I was a little hesitant because I didn't know if I would be able to necessarily like handle it. So after I met like your whole family, I went home and I talked to my mom about it. And obviously my parents were a little hesitant at first too because they're like, you've never done this before, like, are you sure this is something you want to do? And I thought about it and I just thought it'd be a really good experience, like learning experience for me, like to get more experience in that area, I guess. Thought it'd be good, and also I feel like I do a really good thing by helping out because I know that it's not as easy necessarily to find a babysitter for special needs
You know. Well, I
kids.
think I think that you were leaning in, and what I love and I'm so thankful for is that you saw it as an opportunity to learn more.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure, like, what would be like two things that, after spending a year with us after school and running around to therapy, what are two things that I totally learned X, I totally learned Y, like without a doubt, about autistic kids and in general?
Is that they're the same as regular kids. They like to watch TV, they like to go on their iPad, play their games, like, they still fight as siblings, the same
Yeah.
thing that everyone like, normal kids. I think the only thing that's, like, different is your approach on how to, like, get them to the bathroom or feed them at meal times, like, stuff like that, but on, like, a basis, it's the same as dealing with regular kids. Like, you have
Yeah.
to give them a little more attention and, like, bring them to the car, but it's the same as you would if you had young kids. It's not
I
that different.
think I think though that your acceptance of that, but also sharing that, is so big because I talked to other mom friends of mine who wouldn't have had the same outlook that you even had, or would actually even share that, because even after interacting with them, because I think they are just typical kids. Like, autism is just one part of who they are, but like they do exhibit very typical things. I always say, like, what is autism for Mac and Millie, and what is just them being a 9 and 6 year old set of siblings?
Yeah.
You know, you also got to get really close with and help out with my typical daughter, Morgan, and how, sensitive she is to her siblings' needs. How do you feel like that role evolved too, in being sort of this extra set of hands, mommy's helper, but like also just integrating into my oldest daughter's life as well?
I think especially Morgan made me feel like I was, like, part of the family. Morgan's, like, a younger sister to me,
Yeah.
so I love having, like, I have a younger sister too, but she's not as into
Well,
she
that'll evolve with
yeah.
you guys in age too. Like, your
It's
sister's going to be your
different 'cause
best
she's
friend
my
at some point.
sister, yeah, but,
Yeah.
like, it's really nice that Morgan, like, she obviously looks up to me so much, and I love hanging out with her, and also, I think seeing the way that she interacts with Mac and Millie, like, it's honestly amazing to see. She's so mature for her age. Like, I worked at when I was at camp with kids the same age as her, and their maturity level is nothing like Morgan's. It was very nice.
I always say Morgan's superpower that she doesn't realize yet is that she's got to experience some really emotional things
Mhm.
about her siblings being different. And she doesn't even know that she carries that yet.
He has no
She
idea.
has no idea that she carries that, but it's going to become such a strength of hers as she ages. And I'm not saying it's easy. Like, I just was talking to someone, another mom who is a thriving fashion influencer in Connecticut. And I said, the irony is that no one wakes up and goes, you know what? I want to give my typical child two siblings with non speaking autism. Like, nope, Morgan wouldn't choose that. I wouldn't have chosen that for her. But that she is learning from that too. And I think that in seeing you enter our family's world gave her a lot of I think that like it gave her a lot of peace knowing that a young woman that she can look up to that's a babysitter but also this older sister role that you accept Mac and Millie for who they are. It allowed her to do that more
Mhm.
because you're this typical beautiful, fun, like energetic teen who I want to be like that. And that girl also loves to take care and help mom out with Mac and Millie. That's a huge thing. But I go back to your age and the desire to work, with us. And it's really nice to hear you say that you see them being typical in some ways too.
It's yeah, I'm as I said, like, when I would have my friends, like, babysit, like, sometimes I would ask my friends and they'd be, "No, like, I could never do that," but, like,
Mhm.
it really is explaining to them that, like, you're not doing things much different from babysitting a typical family, if you would even say that, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to change their pull-ups and
Hmm.
feed them, but, like, other than that, it's you're playing games with them, you're watching TV with them, they
Right.
love your phone, same
Right.
thing.
I've noticed, and I think I might have told you this in person, that when I give a talk to a company, and whether it's all women, all men, a variety of parents, that your generation, which are you young Gen Z?
I have no idea.
Your generation's emotional capacity for differences is so beyond what I'm a geriatric, I'm like an old millennial, right? Like I'm the oldest of millennials. I
Mhm,
don't think we're shown the ease of which acceptances and differences can be. Do
mhm.
you think that your generation, do you think that part of your ability to have a mindset of like acceptance to Mac and Millie's autism and their differences was because of how you, at being your age, allows for? Because I wonder, when I was in school, I didn't know about autism.
I think being in this generation, there's more awareness of it. So now disabilities are more incorporated into like TV shows and like mass
Just
media
talked about
kind
it.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talked about more. So I think that kind of led me to be feel more acceptance for it.
Right.
I also think, like, it's from, like, my parents teaching me when I was younger,
Hmm.
like, you don't, like, judge people about that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
it's normal, like, I mean, because some of my friends wouldn't have done
Right.
this,
Right. And
obviously.
I think there's limiting beliefs about what it could actually entails.
Yeah.
I like to think that setting you up for success was knowing that I was always a phone call away, or that there was nothing, because I would never make like someone that's helping me and my family, and specifically Millie and Mac, do something that I haven't done myself. And that's like a huge takeaway. And people spend a lot of money getting specialized like respite care
Mhm.
for their special needs kids, and not only just one, but then having two, and they want these like specialized practitioners to watch them. And I agree that they're helpful, and they can provide like a level of care that's like very necessary in some ways, but in other ways, trying to say we're just another family too that needs an extra set of hands, and it's going to look different. And if you can push the anxiety of like well, what if they're this, what if they're that, and knowing that like it is a team working together,
Mhm.
it can be fine. Like, all right, I'm gonna go here, you go here, we'll see you back at the house, kind of thing.
Yeah, and also, like, I feel like as a parent to, like, just, like, regular kids and babysitting,
Hmm.
you're far more reachable and if I ever had an issue, I'd always you would call me back in, like,
Yeah.
a second or text me back in a minute, like, never had any worries about that. I've babysat for families where the parents just, like, don't respond the entire time, like, even if you're having, like, really big issue. One time I was
Really?
babysitting and, like, the dog, like, pooped on the carpet and then it was, like, running away. It was a whole thing, and the parents wouldn't respond.
I always say that having Mac and Millie has peaked, like in the sense of like PEAKED or PIQUE, I don't know. Whatever, peaked my sensitivity to helping others that are
Yeah,
helping me,
me
whether it's supporting other special needs parents or in like being accessible to a babysitter or to being accessible to my kids' teachers. Like it's just something that I feel I owe. I feel I owe anyone that is a part of mine and my children's life, specifically Millie and Max. Like I owe that attention to it because of I know how big of an ask it is to incorporate into our family. Which honestly is its weight in gold in other ways too, because I find I'm a better attentive friend,
mhm.
or I'm a better attentive, partner. I'm a better attentive mom to Morgan because I'm extra attentive to Mac and Millie, and it's like that muscle gets flexed, right?
Yeah, I feel like that has
Good.
happened to me as well. Like, after working with Mac and Millie, I feel like I'm more inclined to, like, help people out. I just feel like I don't know, I feel like it made me, like, a better person, kinda.
Well, and I mean, that makes me really happy to hear because it's, again, no one, no, I was 29 in New York when I had Morgan. 2.5 years later, Millie was coming along. And at 30 years old, 31, I was never, what I want is, to have kids with autism. You don't think about that, but what it's given me, and I love that you say that, it does, if you engage with them, it makes you a better person because it makes you think about yourself. And that is something also that I hope to always lead with as a mom is like choosing to engage, getting typical or the typical world to engage with Millie and Mac to grow. Like for us, it's good because they need to be able to get outside the house. Like we need to be able to live. We need to be able to travel. We need
Yeah.
to go to Disney World. We need to do all the things, go to New York, have brunch, blah, blah, blah. But it also allows the world to not be so, have worries or anxieties about engaging with kids on the spectrum.
Yeah, seeing them, like, do same things that you would say a typical person would do, I think kind of increases everyone's acceptance
Yeah,
of
and I think like down the road, like your generation being able to, you're having a experience as you did, helping us out as a family and being an extra set of hands and beautifully and doing it and wanting to learn about it is only going to make, and this is such a broad statement, it's going to make the workers of when you are leading, when you're in a company, think about how companies can incorporate kids like Mac and Millie as they become adults. I think about my friends that are big in fashion or friends that have companies that are like on supply chain stuff, and I think, well, Millie and Matt can do that one day, and it's only going to be greater because of young adults like you who are going to go through college and have an understanding of like, wonder what they could do at a company. I don't know if you know this stat, but like the statistics are that autistic individuals that are hired for jobs actually stay at their job. Like the retainment of autistic individuals is so high because they love doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, can't you picture if you're like Millie, all these pink shirts have to be done this way and put in this box and taped with the box. And it's gonna be
I
hell.
love
It's
it.
gonna be hell to teach her to do it though, right? It's gonna be like getting
It's
her
gonna
to
take a
learn
lot.
that is gonna take a long time. But her then doing it, once she learns,
She'll love to do it.
she'll love to do it. And that gives me such what?
She'll do it with the blue shirts and the green.
Exactly. Like, and she'll know that and she'll have such confidence in it. And so it's like cool to see that because of young adults like yourself who've leaned in to understand differences and the diversity and cognitive diversity differently, it'll make for better outcomes for kids like Millie and Mac. I believe it 100%. So what company will you own and hire them for?
I
Just
wanna
kidding.
be finance
All right.
company.
Well, Millie probably can count to 10 for you and and she'll do it over and over and over again. Lindsey, thank you for providing a perspective on
Of
this.
course.
I think that whether there's one other special needs mom out there that I can give a sense of peace and calm into what my choice was and then allow them to try something new that would help their family is always a win. And you were such an easy, beautiful choice for us, and I'm endlessly thankful for the role you are in all the kids' lives. So thank you. We're number 3, baby. I can't believe it. I can't.